Chapter 18 Biology Theory Video 3. So now we have looked at three domains: bacteria, archaea and eukarya. So the bacteria contain all the prokaryotic organisms except the archaea group, and then archaea they are also prokaryotic organisms. They resemble bacteria, but they have some features of eukaryotes as well. The eukaryotes are the eukaryotes are a eukaryotic group. Actually, the domain contains all eukaryotic organisms, prototicts, fungi, plants, and animals. So now to look at the domain bacteria, they are small organisms. They vary from from the size of about largest viruses to the smallest eukaryotic organisms. That is the size range. Then to have a better understanding of how they look like, you can look at figure 1.30, that is chapter 1 30th figure, and also chapter 10.2 and 10.12 figures, and also 18.5 would show cyanobacterium nostoc. Cyanobacterium nostoc is what is shown here. So as you can see here, the filamentous cyanobacterium nostoc, they fix carbon dioxide in photosynthesis, and also they fix nitrogen by converting nitrogen in N2 in the atmosphere into organic forms of nitrogen that can be absorbed, and these are found in wider and lighter green cells in filaments, as you can see in this diagram. Then moving on, we would see that domain archaea contain prokaryotic organisms. They don't, again, because they are prokaryotic, because they don't have an organized nucleus, and their size is quite similar to that of bacteria. And the special thing about these organisms who belong to domain archaea, they live in extreme environments. So this second figure 18.6, is a scanning electron micrograph of archaean Pyrococcus furiosus. They look like bacteria, but their structures are different, and also their metabolism and genetics would be different from that of bacteria. Pyrococcus furiosus found in only in near boiling water. So if the temperature is less than 70 degrees Celsius, it freezes and would die. So that means it requires above 70 degrees Celsius temperature. So you would find these organisms in living in extreme the hot water springs and volcanic vents. Right. Then let's see what kind of features are found in the bacteria and archaeans. Their metabolism of archaeans would be similar to that of bacteria, but the way their transcription occur would be quite similar to that of eukaryotes. So obviously the bacteria, they have cells with no nucleus. That is the same feature for archaeans. Then DNA is circular and does not have histone proteins associated with it in bacteria. Then in bacteria, smaller circular molecules of DNA called plasmids are often there. Then there are no membrane-bound organelles. For example, mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, ER, Golgi body, chloroplasts. They are not there in it, right? So no membrane-bound organelles. Then ribosomes 70S are smaller than in eukaryotic cells. Then cell walls are always present and contain peptidoglycans. It is not cellulose. Then cells divide by binary fission and not by mitosis. That is, an exact copy is made by dividing it into two. Usually exist as single cells or small groups of cells. Then archaeans, again similar to bacteria, they have no nucleus. Here DNA exists as circular chromosomes, and they have histone proteins associated with it. Now that is a difference between bacteria and archaeans. Then they have smaller circular molecules of DNA called plasmids, and they are present just like in bacteria. And just like bacteria, they don't have membrane-bound organelles. They also have ribosomes, 70S ribosomes. They are smaller than in eukaryotic cells, but the small subunit of 70S have features that are similar to eukaryotic ribosomes and not bacterial ribosomes. So the base sequence of rRNA and the primary structure of ribosomal proteins are similar to that of eukaryotic cells than bacteria. Then membrane lipids are unique in the sense they are not found in bacteria or eukarya. As a result, they are different. Then they also have cell walls, but they don't. These don't have peptidoglycans, so that is different from that of bacteria. They have cell walls, but they don't contain peptidoglycans. Then again, similar to that of bacteria, they divide by binary fission and not by mitosis. They also, just like bacteria, either exist as single cells or small groups of cells. So that's about prokaryotes. Then moving on to eukaryotes, they have a developed nuclei and membrane-bound organelles. So their characteristics are their cells they have cells with nuclei and membrane-bound organelles. The DNA in their nuclei are arranged in linear chromosomes with histone proteins. They have ribosomes 80S, which are larger in the cytosol, and they are obviously larger than that of prokaryotes and archaea. Archaeans, their proteins are their ribosomes are larger. Then in these, the chloroplast and mitochondria would have 70S ribosomes like those in bacteria. Then chloroplast and mtDNA is circular as in prokaryotes. Then there is a great diversity of forms, unicellular, colonial and multicellular organisms. Then cell division takes place by mitosis, and in some of them, like in plants, cell walls are present. They show a variety of different ways of reproducing asexually and sexually, and these reproduction patterns are quite different from one another as well. I hope you understood. You will have to write down these boxes containing the characteristics of bacteria, archaea, and of course eukarya. But before that, write down a small note here. The three domains, bacteria, archaea and eukarya, have significant differences between one another. However, both bacteria and archaea are prokaryotic, meaning they do not have organized nuclei or organelles which are bound by membranes. And please write down these characteristic features of bacteria archaeans and also the eukarya. So then you will be able to understand these things. You will have to remember these different characteristics, and you should be able to compare them as well. And after you have written down all of the three boxes, please do question number 2 and 3. If you have any further questions, please ask.